clearly very much so enjoy community. And today I am joined by none other than Melissa Mendez and Claudia Cafeo from Flow Party and Floxies. Big round of applause for them. Awesome. Cool. All right, let's take a seat. So today we're going to talk about, of course, the thing that the three of us, other than the color black, love, and that would be community.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I guess honestly, the first question that I always think about when we talk about community is just like the very many different ways that we can define that. As we kick into it, would love to get to know quick about you and what defines your community. So first, Melissa.
Yeah. So Melissa Mendez here. I'm the creator of the Flow Party, and we are a community of developers and designers just learning new tools in a fun and safe space.
And
yeah, and this is Claudia, founder at Floxies Community. We're an international community for women in UX UI design and Webflow development. And yeah, our main goal is basically supporting women, amplifying their voices in tech, and just basically help everyone grow as much as we can and keep in a safe space, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm pretty sure we have at least a few people from both your communities here in audience in Berkeley. Yeah. Awesome.
That's community, you know, just that support, you know.
It really does make a difference up here. So please do feel free to be as loud as you want for these two women throughout this panel. Awesome. So, I mean, there's so many incredible things that both your communities have been working on, and now that the world is kind of opening back up and changing, would love to hear, like, what were some of the things that were going through your head when you first started your community, and kind of how have you reevaluated that now that things are kind of changing again? This time, let's start with Claudia.
Yeah, sure. I mean, mine is a bit of a long story because I come from a completely different background, not from a design background. I used to be a primary school teacher in London for 8 years, and then COVID happened and kind of ruined our lives, you know, just like we know. But especially being at school was extremely hard to be on the front line in the UK. So I've always been a creative individual, so I started studying UX UI design and Webflow after work. But I was by myself, basically, and coming from a completely different background, I didn't know whether what I was doing was the right thing, the wrong thing, you know, the best practices. And so the first thing you do is, like, you look for support. You look for mentors online, and that's what I've done. And I've had some really good experiences and some really bad ones as well when I was looking for mentors. And that kind of put me off a little bit at the very beginning, but then I thought, you know, I really want to change my life. I really want to change my career. And for sure, there's going to be other women out there that are trying to do the same thing. And, you know, the main perk at Floxies, I guess, as a women community is that, you know, even though things are changing and, you know, the world is having this positive change for women, there's still so much work to be done in terms of empowerment and just like having more, you know, reducing the gender gap and all of that. So I just dropped a message in a Facebook group, and I was like, hey, girls, this is Claudia, teacher. I want to become a Webflow developer. Is there anyone that would like to study with me? And out of that single message, I got 70 replies from women all over the world. And I wasn't expecting that. I was just like, okay, this is a little bit more than a WhatsApp group that I thought, you know, just like, okay. So I opened up a Discord server, and then this was last year, and now we're over 1,200 women across the world. So yeah, I mean, it's been crazy.
For me, it was very similar. I had been doing Webflow for a little while now, and somebody reached out on Instagram, and they were like, oh, would you be open to mentoring me? And I said, sure. So after a few calls, I said, maybe more people need this, you know? And I did the same thing you did, tweeted something, and people loved it. And that's how it started. And now we're 1,500 people from all over the world, some of them here. And yeah, and it's just awesome. I mean, it has changed my life, and I know a lot of people in the community has been impacted by being part of it.
Absolutely, and I think like honestly, such an incredible thing that both of you have been working towards. Where like it's not easy to start a community, and it's definitely not easy to keep it up, and especially as things grow, which often feels like you wake up one day and you're like, how did this happen? What are some of the things that you've learned throughout kind of that growth phase of your community that if anyone in the audience is looking to start their own chapter or maybe get involved, what are some words of wisdom that you would share?
Yeah, sure. Go. My first advice, because I get this question a lot, and they always ask me, how do I start a community? So I always say, start by being a good person, like start by being kind and be true to yourself. And then try to think of the people that you want to have in your community, so your user persona, and how, the best ways on which you can support them. And that's a great start, because then you're starting from a kind of organic point of view. And I found, for personal experience, that's the best way to grow your community, because it's organic. It doesn't, come from a salesy kind of attitude or business kind of attitude. It just comes from your desire of helping people, which is what makes communities so special.
Yeah. I think for me would be consistency. It's very easy to start something, but it's very hard to keep constant with it every single day for years. So I think planning ahead, making sure that you're listening to your community, what is it that they need, what is it that they want, being aware of the trends that are happening in the space, and then creating content for those type of people. Like we saw with Flux, like he does great content, so it's always trying to looking to see what people are needing and then putting out content for them and just keeping consistency.
And honestly, you iterate because a community is as special as its members are, and then you just build it together with them, which is really, really fun to do.
Yeah, what's cool about community is that you guys are the ones that make it. So when you create a community that it's very engaged, people will come to you and ask you for what they need. So then you create that, friendship of, I got you. You want to get there? Okay, let's do content for you so you can succeed in that specific topic. So yeah, just keeping communication open and just delivering.
I think like what I really love about kind of like the genuine side of the why behind both your communities is that it really isn't with this transactional kind of thing in the back of your head. It's really about how can we unify people around a common set of problems? How can we empower them to connect with each other? And also, like, how do we listen so that we can do things that people want to share, that they want to get involved in it? It feels more like a friendship than anything.
100%,
and
yeah.
I honestly applaud both of you for that so much, because I don't think I've met a single person from either one of your communities that is just not like the nicest, most authentic, willing to help person ever. I mean, we literally hired Skylar as an example.
Yeah, I was rooting for you, Skylar.
Awesome. I think, especially when we talk about the power of community, I'm always curious to hear, well, what's that feeling, that moment when you take a step back and you're like, oh, wow, like, this is the impact, like, this is what we're doing. How would you describe the impact of community kind of in your own words? And Claudia?
Yeah, I just imagine it, you just see the wheels moving on its own, and you're like, okay, it's working. So when you take a step back and you kind of see that train still running, you're like, okay, when you see the girls, specifically in my community, so the girls connecting to one another and just supporting each other, or maybe landing an internship or a job. So we have different roles in our community. So we have experts in accessibility like Mirella, or we have Webflow experts like Maria here, and Felicity as well. Artists, Carmia as well, we look after our mental health. So when you see all of these little projects that are initiatives of our members of the community, so it wasn't me just saying to them like, hey, can you help? Can you do this for them? They just did it by themselves because they thought that was the best way to do for helping the community. So then that's when it's working, you know, when it has kind of a life of its own and it's all working naturally, and then they send you screenshots or like selfies when they meet together for the first time in real life, and the only thing that connects those two people, or the first thing, is your community, and that's, you know, that's a beautiful feeling when I get those pictures.
Yeah, I agree. For me, like when I saw that parties were happening without me, and just seeing
Out of
They know 'cause
context,
they have
that's
so much fun.
fantastic. That's a fantastic quote.
When you didn't get the invite.
when I didn't get the invite. But yeah, I see them together and they're having so much fun and learning. And for me, that's just so gratifying. I'm sorry, guys, I keep touching the mic. But anyway, and most of all, is just seeing how people's life change. Like for me, I've always been someone that I'm very like a motivator in a way. So seeing people, you know, get a full-time job or get a project, like Claudia was saying, or just say like overall my mental health has improved. For me, that's it. That's the power of community. Yeah.
So I think like there's a really interesting like feeling kind of in the way that both you described that impact, that moment, you not being invited to parties, and of course Claudia seeing, you know, the girls really positively reacting.
It's the first time I'm happy I don't get invited to a party.
Yeah. And I think what what is really exciting to me is I would love to kind of hear like why, or kind of in that moment where the world slowed down and there's just like a million other things that I'm sure were top of mind, like what was that fire in you that made you push for really diving deeper into the community? Because I definitely saw both of you just taking that and being like, now is that moment. What was that? Can you walk us through how that felt or what that process was like?
Well, for me, I don't know, like I had just done the docuseries with Webflow, and I felt like there was also a need for me to also give back in a way. And then just seeing how many people were eager to learn and be supported, I saw how Georgiana, who was the person that reached out, really needed guidance. And when I learned Webflow myself, I learned, you know, with no help. So I really wanted to just give that support to people. I'm not the best at Webflow, I'm not the master, but I know that if I can give you support and push you to solve issues, I will be there. So for me, it was that, really.
Yeah, and to me it was just like this strong desire of changing my life, my situation. So probably it came from a personal point of view, and then it kind of expanded onto everyone else because everyone was kind of reflecting on their own experiences at that time. So it kind of resonated really well with the other girls. And so collectively we worked towards aiming, you know, we aimed to that same goal, which was changing our lives, improving our situations, and we did it together. And I always say, like, I'm very passionate about this concept of like collective growth. I think there's enough resources out there in the world and opportunities for everyone to thrive. But unfortunately, there are some places and some countries where all these opportunities and these resources are still kind of hidden, or like some people can access them. And so having a community, an international community where we can share resources and knowledge and support for free to all these people is really empowering, and at least it gives me a lot of satisfaction. Like on a personal level, like whenever I see them doing well, that's my payoff for what we're doing.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so I think the other thing that is interesting, especially now that a lot of communities are both in person, they're virtual, they exist in so many different places. How has that changed when you think about the type of person that joins your community? How would you describe what that person is? Are they all designers? Are they all developers? Are they all not happy to be not involved in a party? What does that look like? How would you describe Flow Party if they were a person?
Definitely somebody very happy, outgoing, or not outgoing, maybe an introvert, but someone very happy, spontaneous, a person that's very curious. Also, somebody that's very genuine and respectful in between the funness of all. Yeah, just someone very easygoing, you know. I see the faces here of people that are in the Flow party, and like, they are just that one person, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah, and for me, it would just be, if I can picture it, it would be just like a strong, independent woman that can take ownership of their own future. And, you know, that woman's name is probably Carmia, Isabel, Maria, Ariana, Mirella, Penny, Colleen, Casey. I mean, there's so many here, and all the people online. I would just give that woman, that strong woman, all my members' names, because, you know, they all deserve it, and, you know, they're amazing. And yeah, so let's all work together to become better and just help in our lives.
Awesome. And I think one thing I'm really curious about, oh, interesting.
That
There we
was
go.
power of
yeah.
community.
That's actually super powers. That's what that one was. I guess one of the things that, as we think about now, and of course with community, there's always that concept of scaling. And as we scale, there's different challenges, there's different ways that we can make an impact. What are some things that you're really looking forward to, or things that are kind of top of mind when you think about the next chapter for both of your communities? And Claudia, you're like beaming right now.
Yeah, no, because I'm thinking, you know, after this grant, beautiful news, so thank you so much for that. Now I have to really think on what to do. But some of the things for us to scale up that we've been focusing on, as I was saying, is mental health. We have in our community a space specifically for mental health, and we do that using art with Carmia here, but I also want to outreach to professional psychologists to just come in once a month to support, to offer that kind of support. And then education, of course, I'm bringing the education field back into my life, and I want to create the first kind of Webflow certified women mentors. And we have 13 ambassadors, so women representing our community in 13 different countries. And I would love for them to outreach to local schools, like primary schools, secondary schools, and start teaching Webflow to young girls at a very young age, and just, for them to understand that they can do it. So yeah, that's the plan. Just more education, collaboration, and support.
Awesome. Yeah. For us, we're really trying to push more educational content out, and just keep everything very organized, try to push out content multiple times a week. So, that requires a lot of manpower, I would say. Girl power. And apart from that, I really want to start doing in-person events next year. So that's really my focus. I really want to connect people in the real world now that we've been behind the screen. So yeah, hopefully that'll happen next year, just,
And
fun.
then we can all have those heights conversation. Oh, I thought you were taller, shorter.
Yeah.
I mean, even having the opportunity to see so many faces that I really truly believe through so many of the channels that a lot of us interact in, like we feel like we know each other already.
Yeah.
That you kind of like skip that awkward in between, like after they recognize you from your Twitter profile,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And I guess even seeing the two of you together, like we were joking backstage, that this is like the crossover episode that we've been waiting for. Amazing. So I guess with that, like, what does even like the potential of, let's say, future state of community look like, even when you think about all the incredible communities that are here today? Like, are there ever opportunities that we could potentially be looking forward to seeing how even between the different communities you guys interact?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a lot of people in the Flow party that are in Floxy's and vice versa. So I think that 100% there needs to be some type of merge in between communities where we can do events together, learn together, and collaborate. At the end of the day, we're doing this for the same reason, and it's just supporting each other and motivating each other. So definitely think that this is something that could happen.
Yeah, we should definitely go for that because we were talking backstage as well of like the possibility of having co-events together and just like there's so many amazing communities like Knockout North and Somos Webflowers. I can't even think there's so many.
FinSuite.
FinSuite.
We collaborate a lot with FinSuite, but yeah, like we're always open to always be collaborative.
So having the scene community for collaboration right now, I think should be our next step for everyone. Yeah.
Awesome. I think one thing I'm kind of curious, like let's take in like a huge step back for a second, like pre-Flow Party, pre-Floxies. When we think about like the very first time that you may have met somebody that sparked it, like that feeling where you're like, oh, this is what community is. Who was that person for you, or what was that interaction?
Honestly, I don't even know. Like before Webflow, I was in artificial intelligence, and before that, fashion. They're not inclusive communities. They're not inclusive communities, and that's really what hit me about Webflow. I remember finding Twitter, like Webflow Twitter, and my mind was just blown away. Everybody was so supportive. One of the first ones that I met was Ty. And I was like, oh my God, I love this about you. And he was just like, oh, thanks, and just started helping me. And before that, I really never had an opportunity.
No,
like
not community experience. If I think of a group of people kind of helping each other, I don't know, I used to play soccer. So that's my experience of a team of women kind of supporting each other. And then, I don't know, if I think of great women out there trying to put people together, rest in peace, the Queen. Just like there's so many powerful individuals that are out to support others. And I guess maybe we didn't give them their community name, but that's what I always admired in somebody. So just like to see how they would have an impact on somebody else's lives. And I guess, that's also coming from my education background. So yeah, just having that kind of role model of helping others would shape us into good community people.
Yeah, I think like it's those funny things where like you don't even think about them in that moment, but something changes in you. Mm-hmm. I know for me, even with the Webflow community, like I remember harassing Waldo on Twitter. So I was like, how do I set up this reverse proxy? And he was really nice to a stranger. And same with like being alone as a solo marketer and seeing Pixel Geek for the very first time. And
the best.
Even if I wasn't building in the exact moment exactly what he was doing, which at the time was just crazy rebuilds of things, it felt like he heard me. Yeah. And I think like those moments are so impactful that like they help to slowly make those shifts in your brain.
Yeah, 100%. I think everybody in Webflow, this is a plug for Webflow.
Sponsored by.
Like up to Vlad. Everybody's just so nice that you don't have another reason but just to be nice. Like there's just no reason to be rude or, envious or, just bad feelings. No, this is all good vibes here.
And I think like that really is, I think, a really core difference. In a lot of the communities I know I've been involved in, even just the incredible welcome that both of you have given me, as well as many of the incredible members in the Webflow community, like I have not met a single person that wasn't just genuinely excited to be here. And if I could go to a party or not that is filled with people that are like that, like I choose this. And I feel like both of you choose that every day and make that happen every day. So honestly incredible.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so I guess one of the things that kind of has also come up in the threads as we've heard you talk is that you both have very different backgrounds, and I mean that changes how you think about things. How would you say, I know Melissa, your background's in growth marketing, myself included, like how did that impact the way that you think about community, or how do you think it's influenced how you've set things up?
Yeah, well, you're a growth marketer, so I feel like we think about marketing in every situation that happens in your life. So for me, it's always a challenge to grow things. So maybe that was my mindset when I started the Flow Party. Okay, how do I make it better? How do I bring more people in? How do I track results so I can maybe do a double down on the efforts of that specific thing? So for me, that's just how I saw it. For her, it was education, right?
Yeah, for me, education really made it kind of simple to transition into community skills, because basically, to me, it just felt like I kept on helping people, using empathy, and just I was supporting a lot of children and people before, and now I'm doing the same thing on a much bigger scale. So it was really easy to transfer those skills and just improve on them with the community world.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, this question came in via DM earlier today, where a lot of people see both of you all over the place, constantly shouting out folks, constantly doing that, but what's...
A bit too much.
I mean, you both did it on stage. What's one thing that your community would be super surprised to learn about you?
That we're here together.
I think I've shared my deepest secrets
Let's go
with
one
the
level
Flow
deeper.
Party.
What do you think, Melissa? I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Damn, I'm pressured. You go first.
What would they be surprised
Yeah, what would they be surprised?
to learn? I mean, I'm an open book for them. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, for real, just seeing me and Melissa here together, because we knew each other, but we never kind of connected on a one-on-one level. So I think for them today, this was just oh my God.
They would be surprised if this is my new BFF.
Oh yes, that would shock them. That would shock them.
That is Scorpio.
I am,
Great.
Yeah. I'm not a Scorpio, so I'm feeling that now. I guess the other question, same person, very, very creative.
Yeah.
Coming in asking if there was a theme song to your community, what would it be?
Well, I feel like for you would be Who Runs the World.
Girls, but that would be too
100%.
stereotypical. That would be too.
That felt rehearsed. You were like,
Yeah, your one. Raise Your Glass, Pink.
okay.
For us, it would be something by Lil Jon or something like that. Turn Up, something like that. I feel like that would be it.
Absolutely love that. We will keep that in mind for some future Easter egg.
Oh my God. That'll be
And
fun though.
I guess as we close things out for today, would really love to hear, because there are just such a unique opportunity to see so many people who have had the chance that whether you impacted them, whether they are new to the community and they're looking to get involved, how can they learn more about both of your communities? Melissa?
Yeah, so we have a Circle community, which the link will be somewhere, I guess. And the most active
In the chat.
right here.
In the chat.
And there's a Slack channel that it's very active. You will find every answer there for all of your Webflow needs. And yeah, Twitter. You can find us there. And
We're based on Discord, and we use GatherTown every Wednesday for our Wonder Wednesday live events. And then you can find us on Twitter, LinkedIn, www.fluxcommunity@webflow.io, or one of them, dots at, you find them. Or if you want, you can scan, if you see.
Oh. You got to drop the jacket even more if you want the QR code.
Yes, tomorrow we'll be walking around without my jacket, but you might see other girls wearing it as well. So if you want to join us, reach out or just come and talk to us. We're very friendly, as you can see. And we'll give you all the information you need.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us in person, virtually. This has been such an incredible and electrifying first day.
yeah.
I am still awe-shocked that I'm even sitting here with you two right now. This
Same.
is crazy. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Big round of applause for these two.